Someone asked to see my current drawings of schematics of projects I have, so I thought I would show them in level of most boring to most recent and cooler. This is simply a diagram on how to hook up a ballast for a 2-bulb fluorescent white helped by a Christmas tree guy, light guy. Novelty rocket idea I had have 2 tubes here and here, and then have fins in it. Probably wouldn't. That's more resistance, but it's a cool idea, concept anyhow. More on that. And then here's possible fin designs. Like I said, not all practical. Cones. Here's how to make my napalm, the styrofoam and the gas. And then you get this styrofoam goo and you burn it quite easily. I probably only have like 2 minutes left on my battery. Hope it doesn't die. Flamethrower, aerosol can to a check valve. Very simple. This one's more complex. Fire hydrant with CO2 in it, henceforth not to combust, and that's a 50% gas, 50% motor oil ratio. 2 valves, a regulator, and then your nozzle, and then you would light it. It's like a World War II backpack style. Bouncing Betty. Switch mechanism. Metal, air in between. There's a spring at the bottom. Electricity. This is a modern take on a Bouncing Betty. If someone touches this, the spring is very weak. It simply goes over, touches any of the sides, complete the circuit, and boom. And then you have your base charge to get it off the ground. Main charge to explode. BBs. Or fragmentation, whatever you like to call it. How to concentrate rubbing alcohol. Basically, hot water in my jar, condense it into cold water. I just needed to know that for my redneck air conditioner that I run on dry ice. Can't use water; it freezes, and it's has too much water in it now. Weed eater bike concept. I thought of having a pivoting chain of weed eater engines going in all different sizes, and this one would have to be a little higher up. Each one has its own set of springs, so they're all bared down, and the chain flexes to the wheel as close as it can. And, those would drive, obviously. The commuter bike, same thing in the front. A little bit different, though. Looks like a swastika design. I had another one at the bottom, but I couldn't make it work. This is just a centerpiece for my '88 Chevy Nova that I'm creating, as a matter of fact. That is in here. I have to fiberglass it. So after I toughen it up, I'm going to fiberglass it so it looks nice and like a speaker box. And this is firm now. It's as firm as plywood, so that's a cup holder that I need to patch up. It's too big. Yeah, that's that. And I just got to fiberglass that like a woofer enclosure. Here's when I was designing it, though. Interesting suspension for a bicycle. I didn't think of this. I saw it in a book. Don't have the book. I'm sorry. I had to copy it down right then, or I'd never see it again. Basically, you have your fork coming down. It's like a chopper fork. And pivot point. Here's where your wheel mounts. So this is obviously going to want to go straight to the top because of how the wheel's being pushed up from the ground because you're sitting on it. You have trampoline springs, 2 on this side, 2 on the other side. It pulls them, which gives you a much bouncier and more fun to ride than just compressing a spring as you're pulling it. This is from Charger Miles channel. Spark plug, screws in a spark plug hole in a car. These little flaps dilute the air and goes to an air pump when you screw this into one of your car engine's plugs. It acts as a compressor and can inflate your tire. That's obviously to dilute it so you don't have a combustible tire. I take little notes like this. Alright, now we're up to my go-kart. And like I said, this video is for anyone that cares. This is just me converting my 12-point Model 28 Briggs to, it was vertical, now it's horizontal. I'm not quite done yet, but I'm very close. More on that. This is a carburetor. This is just for the carb mount. Basically, I had to go from, this time I had to go from horizontal to vertical mounts to get it to face the right way. This is just a picture of the crankcase, pretty crappy. That's connecting two crankshafts together in an engine, maybe to weld it and make a 2-cylinder Briggs out of 2 single cylinders, and then that's combining one in a big gearbox style crankcase. Obviously an engine and an engine and then 2 differential style gears. That's just information on like the model number, all that, horsepower. More go-kart stuff. This is go-kart shocks ideas. This is your C-mount for your spindle. Cut the spindle down, make it real short, and have a very strong spring in there. So every time you hit a bump, it goes up a bit and just compresses the spring. Same idea, except this side it has a lift kit, because I need a lift, because mine's an off-road go-kart, but it's, so I need to have a lift. Same thing though. Down here is a, pivoting arm. Same C-mount, same, this is all front by the way, same C-mount, same spindle thing, but this pivots here. You have a shock absorber, and it goes down and welds to your bolt, which is your spindle itself. Same thing here, but this one's at an angle for a lift kit for the off-road. This one, it's an L shape, and it pivots here, so it's kind of an odd pivoting motion like this. The whole thing turns, and then you have your shock absorber. I didn't like that idea too much, so I redrew it where this is stays still, pivots here, and this compresses, so this bar right here comes up with the wheel. Inside view of what the spindle is, it's just bearings and all that. And then I have this one, which its C-mount would go here. This is goes in the C-mount. Welded on is a pipe with a washer welded to the top. Spring compresses obviously when you go up and down. This pipe rides in the spring, and then you have your spindle, and then that's how it would hook up. Ooh, running out of time. More suspension. This one's my most complex idea. C-mount comes down, drops down, has multiple bars, shock absorber, arm, and then that's another view from the top. Oh, and then here's more suspension where it pivots, C-mounts here, and this goes here. This is pivoting, this C-shaped thing. You have your nut up here, and then this compresses, so this arm kind of goes up at a weird angle. Very simple, just how to make a basic spindle with your arm, spindle, and bolt for your wheel. Oh look, there's more on the back. Oh, and that's just a lift kit version of the spindle. Jet scooter I've started making. It's a pulse jet. Basic idea. The jet itself is 4.75 feet long. It's expected to shoot a 2-foot flame. Kills children. I'll have about a 1.5 foot overhang, and right where my foot's going to be, the combustion chamber gets red hot with a carburetor from a at least 100cc engine. More on the scooter. Overview on when I was planning to do it on a bike, but I changed my mind. Gas tank's off to the other side to balance the weight. This is full of propane and or gasoline engine. This one is a in-valve gas design. I did not think about this. A pulse jet engineer that has a book out. I think it's the fella that does a lot of videos. I'll put his name in the description. Anyway, he thought of this, and air comes in, the valve's open, and the gas is spread out outside the valve retainer. This one here is using a single carburetor in front of the valve. See, it goes on in front of the valves, and it just acts like an engine. This one, this is how long my engine should be from his website. He's very helpful. I love this guy when it comes to pulse jets. And here is more designs. My 4-barrel Weed Eaty carby, my 1 carby, and then my different injections, direct injection, side injection, and in-valve injection. Any question about any of these, just ask. I have to hurry. And I'm going to run out of time, so I'm making a part 2.